Thanks for stopping by. I did not know that. Classic TV edition. Please like and subscribe.
Can I have just a little bit of time to think about it?
Do it now.
Coming up on this episode, the theater manager was a man named Arthur Groom. He said he heard sounds of an altercation, and when he came around the corner, he found Elvis and the other boy involved in a fistfight. The people you see here, their lives and stories, take place over the span of the last 100 years. Elvis Presley, Jerry Seinfeld, Hugh Jackman, and Walt Disney. They are well known around the world for different reasons. They've led very different lives, but they do all have one thing in common. They were all fired from their various jobs long before the public had any idea who they were. With that said, let's start with this guy. Hugh Jackman became famous for playing a Marvel superhero. But success didn't come overnight for him, and he was already in his 30s when he finally got his big break by playing Wolverine in the X-Men films. Even so, he was not even the first choice for the role. They originally wanted Viggo Mortensen, but after considering it, he turned it down. Another actor, DeGray Scott, was scheduled to play the part, but he was filming one of the Mission Impossible films, and Tom Cruise didn't think Scott could do both and objected to him trying to do it. So they had to find someone else. While Jackman made the role of Wolverine his own, one thing he failed at was keeping his job working at a 7-Eleven. When Jackman was in high school, he got a job as a cashier in the convenience store. Unfortunately, after only 6 weeks on the job, he was then a former 7-Eleven cashier. So how could he lose a job like that so quickly? Was it theft? Not showing up for work? Maybe it was not getting along with coworkers. After all, you've seen his temper on the screen. Nope, it was nothing like that. So what was the reason? It seems that Jackman was just too chatty. Working at the store could sometimes be a bit lonely, and when someone came in to buy something, Jackman couldn't help engaging in long conversations with the customers. While he had top-notch customer service skills, his manager just wanted him to use his cash register to ring up the product and get them out of the store. Jackman was just a bit too friendly and liked to take the time to get into good discussions with them. He said, "I talked too much to the customers," which was probably true. "She just wanted me to get them out." I said, "There's no one else here, and I want to chat." As an 18-year-old, Walt Disney was full of hope and ambition. He dreamed of becoming a successful artist, and he was thrilled when his brother Roy helped him land a job at the Kansas City Star. But his excitement was short-lived. It wasn't long before Walt was called into the editor's office. "I'm sorry, Walt," the editor said. "We're going to have to let you go." Walt was stunned. He had been working hard trying to improve his skills and impress his editor, and he wondered what he did wrong. The editor claimed that Disney lacked imagination and didn't seem to come up with any new ideas. Fortunately, Walt was not one to give up easily, and he set out to improve himself. He became fascinated with the new field of animation, and he believed that he had the ability to produce cartoons himself. He read books and practiced his drawing skills every day. Slowly but surely, Walt's work began to improve. He started to incorporate more creativity into his drawings, adding humor, emotion, and personality. He began an animation company called Laugh-O-Gram Studios, where he and fellow animators created short animated films. While it wasn't a great success, he soon moved to California and created one of the most successful animation and later film studios in history. It seems like Jerry Seinfeld has been around forever. He started out in the 1970s when he decided to try out at an open mic night at New York City's Catch a Rising Star. But before he became a household name, even he had to appear in bit parts on TV shows, sometimes uncredited. But the first time appearing as a regular on a situation comedy was not a good experience for him. He only lasted 3 episodes before he was abruptly fired. The worst part was they didn't even have the decency to let him know about it That led to a very embarrassing experience for him. Some of you may recall a show called Benson that ran from 1979 to 1986. In 1980, Jerry got the role of Frankie on the show. He was a mail delivery boy who would often try to practice his comedy routines on the people around him. His jokes were lame and no one wanted to hear them.
Why did Washington throw $1 across the Potomac? His horse is too big.
He'd been on 3 episodes when he showed up for a table reading to prepare for the next show. A table read is where all the actors would read their lines to each other as they sat at a rather large table. The trouble was, when they passed out the scripts, he didn't get one. It was then he learned that they decided to dump his character of Frankie. He admitted that the incident really angered him. I'm sure it was a bit humiliating, but he said it also made him more determined than ever to succeed, and he poured himself into his comedy career. Only 1 year later, he made his debut on The Tonight Show, which was a big success.
Don't bother to get up. I can throw myself up.
As a teenager, Elvis worked as an usher at Lowe's State Theater, a big movie theater in Memphis. The story goes that there was a girl who worked at the theater also who was sweet on Elvis and would occasionally slip him some free candy. There was another boy who also worked at the theater who liked the girl, and he wasn't crazy about her giving Elvis all that attention, not to mention all that free candy. The theater manager was a man named Arthur Groom. He said he heard sounds of an altercation, and when he came around the corner, he found Elvis and the other boy involved in a fistfight. Groom broke it up and then fired both boys on the spot. Years later, Elvis returned to the theater for the premiere of his new movie, Love Me Tender, where Groom was still manager. Groom remembered the incident, but not who the other boy was. At the premiere, he generously offered Elvis his old job back. Elvis said, "Sir, I don't believe I'm ready to go back to my old job yet." I hope you enjoyed these stories. They go to show that even the most successful people have had experience where they failed, sometimes big time. But instead of letting the incident define them and throwing in the towel, they pushed forward and eventually became more successful than maybe they'd ever dreamed of becoming. So, were you ever fired from a job and it made you more determined to show that your boss made a big mistake? Tell about it in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this channel. See you next time.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da.